I am so today's just hamstrings, calves, and adductors. So in terms of let's just say overall flashiness of a lift, not so wild, not the most exciting thing in the world. Frankly, I don't think most lifters on average would be too uppity, saying, all right, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill adductors and hamstrings today. I just don't think that's how the world works. But I do think it's how it should work, at least to a degree. I mean, it's like, what are you doing, man? You're disparaging between different muscles in your frame, right? The lifter who's ahead of the game, he's got an equal kind of devotion to each, right? He's not just going to skip legs because none of his buddies are hitting legs that day and they're all doing chest. He's not going to skip. What else is he not going to skip? What do you think is the second most skipped muscle? Legs is obviously number one, including calves. Let's just kind of count it as one thing. Yeah, what else are people not doing as much of? Back maybe? I feel like everything you can see from the front gets a little bit of extra special treatment. Chest, shoulders, arms, even a little bit of forearms too. I've never heard it said, at least not as much recently, but sometimes back is like, well, you can't really see it, so maybe it doesn't get as much love. But either way, certainly more of a chill lift. None of these sets are going to be absolutely bone-breaking, hamstring snapping. But I do want them to be as nuts as I can get them, right? So what I mean by that is on the lighter sets of hamstring curls, when I'm having a squeeze at the top and a slow eccentric into a full stretch, I want to emphasize every little portion of the rep to make it kind of more difficult, because you make a set hard in two ways. You can just lift a ton of weight and then it's just physically harder, or you can make more use of lighter weight by the set's actual execution, right? If it's if it's well within your wheelhouse, instead of just throwing some shit around, maybe go up halfway, pause, then finish the rep. Maybe go all the way up, 2-second pause with a real good burn and a slow eccentric. I'm certainly not a form hater, but I just think some guys kind of fly off the wagon if they think every rep of all their sets has to look completely steady and perfect and slow. I think that's a good set, but I like that in contrast with some kind of heavier, nastier ones too, right? So I mean, I might do 2 sets of laying curls with a good squeeze and a hold and a long kind of eccentric portion, and then in the same machine I get up the weight and then do a set where I really throw some shit around, and I think I get a good amount of freaking stimulation from the combination of the two, and especially a good freaking pump. That's one thing which is simply unarguable, right? So that's the plan. Hamstrings is definitely the main course. Adductors and calves, a little more side dishes, but they're still going to get equal treatment, because I want to be able to get out of the car on my way home from the gym and have to really feel like tight and kind of just bound up in my hamstrings and not my adductors as much, but like my calves, so I really kind of know that I actually hit them. But that's all I got. This will be probably a reasonably quick lift, because I mean, in all these videos, unless I say something, I'm just recording every working set. So hamstrings, since it's got some variety to it, I'll always record every set. But calves and adductors, since they're so repetitive, I mean, what do I need to do? See me squishing my legs together from 8 different angles, 8 different times? Not as necessary. But that's now we're talking. So just go get in there and make it happen. There we go. Nothing crazy for set number 1. few more. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, let's do some RDLs next. I didn't even need the stack. Let's do a little bit of 2-set action. So 2 sets of laying curls, 2 sets of cable RDLs. And these are the best. Honestly, I don't think I've felt an RDL activate my hamstrings as much as when it's a cable setup like this. And there are machines that are made specifically to do this. I'm talking like adjustable height platform, cables right here. I never see them. I remember me and Mark were at some gym in like Hilton Head or somewhere, and the gym had the machine. I didn't know what I was missing. I wasn't doing a ton of hamstring based like hinging work at the time, so frankly I was missing out on freaking, you know, thigh thickness gains. But I know better now, so let's get a few done here. All right. Okay. Oh shit. All right, I lied. I might do more than 2 sets here. Whew. Yeah, that's nice. Holy shit. Oh, one more. Whew. No. Okay. Oh my goodness. Whew. Oh. Let's move on. Not sure what to, but no more of these. Strong potential. This is the last one. Light and squeezing. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay. Hamstrings are freaking done. Whew. All right. Minor blunder on my end. Forgot to switch out the freaking battery. So I'm rocking a strong 10%. So post hamstrings, I just had some me time on the adductor, going back and forth between that and the machine leg press. I was going extra hard on the adductor too. I think I might be slacking on my adductor sets. So there's adductor and abductor. All right, abductor, that's the booty machine. Adductor with 2 D's, that's the well, that's your adductor machine. That's where you're squeezing your legs together, plus anything you've got in between them. Something the 4.5% female viewers are not having to worry about. But yeah, I was going extra hard. It's I don't know, it's not a machine that I think I want to add weight to, like, putting in an extra weight pin and then putting a plate on the side of it, because I definitely don't want to pull, I guess, usually people would say you pull your groin, but I do not want to pull my adductor, because if you pull anything in here bad enough, it plays into basically everything, right? Not, obviously pressing, right? Be it leg press, squats, even, just regular ass, like, hip hinging movements, RDLs. Plus, you would definitely feel it when you do hamstring curls. And then, your adductors are a pretty damn serious stabilizer. Odds are, if you pull them hard enough, you're not going to want to do standing curls. It just throws off your game. And I've done it before. It usually happens when I squat too heavy without working my way up to it, which is usually something I've got a problem with post-diet. Like, I'll diet down for, 3 months. This one even longer, 5 months. And, as soon as I start getting some food in me, obviously my strength returns. So, I've come back from, like, a full-on dieting session, or dieting phase, and then instantly started squatting, like, 5 plates. And, yeah, no freaking wonder, after I rack it, I'm like, oh, my adductor's freaking tight. And every time I do that, it just sets me back, because then I got to back off, let it recover, and then even once I start squatting again, it feels good. I've got to build that strength back. Like, I was just talking to some guys in there today. One of them's telling me we're both exchanging, like, knee surgery stories. I've only had one, and it was kind of minor, but it's pretty freaking scary at the time. And we're like, yeah, man, that's it's like my top 2 priorities every lift. One is go nuts, and the other one is don't hurt myself. And honestly, these 2 are pretty damn near equal importance, and it's not as though I'm walking around the gym like I need a hamster ball to keep anything away from me, but I'm much more conscious of the risk involved, which usually isn't really something you have to think about. There's definitely kind of a, I wouldn't say suffering from success, but there is a certain point where your strength might reach a level where you actually have to be a lot more careful about what you go into. If you put a untrained guy under a bench, let's say he can't even do 135. If you put 135 on and he lowered it, and he even kind of like maybe dropped it on himself a little bit, he's not going to rip his pec off, because it's just not the nature of it. But if you put me under, let's say a weight that was equally out of my range, and you had me unrack it, yeah, let's say I just would not want to do that, right? So that's definitely one of the downsides of making yourself a little more muscle bound. You got to be careful about your loading. All right, so I'm sure I'll back off, and like every bodybuilder character does, eventually they start focusing more on their athleticism and their kind of speed. And because once you're just maintaining a build, it's a bit more important to just focus on, like, make sure it moves around how you like. Right now I'm still working up to that level of beef, but it's I would I don't know. I don't think so, but if I just tried to break into a full-on sprint instantly, yeah, let's just say I probably would not want to do that. So, yeah, I'm definitely in the realm of muscle boundness. Not so much that I don't think I can still bust out some flips on the diving board. Once things get warmer and the summer pool opens up, yeah, we're gonna make some trips out there, try to see what we can do. But yeah, I mean, you know, I'm trying to ease into it, and half of that is, I mean, obviously everybody says that, right? Like every time I've like pulled my hamstring or like tweaked my quad or I pulled both chests a couple times, like pretty good. I don't mean good like good. I mean like where, I mean my right one, I pulled it so bad once that like even getting out of bed in the wrong way, like was seriously fucking hurting me. It was all intramuscular. So, I mean, I never had like any bruising or like had to get any surgeries, but yeah, so obviously every time I do that, you know, insert Sam, that is way too heavy, we told you so. And yes, I mean, very correct analysis, but there is I mean, obviously it's better to just, you know, learn from other people's mistakes, but I mean, there's no better way to get a good grasp on something than, you know, to learn it for yourself. So obviously, you know, take my advice here, don't do anything to hurt yourself. But you know, it's kind of a fine line, right? If you really throw some weight around, there's always that kind of subtle risk of random pulling, and you know, some of it you just can't fucking predict. You can do your best to prevent it, but I mean, there's tons of guys where they're doing regular ass weights that they're used to all the time. I've got a buddy who I think is about to do a natural bodybuilding show pretty soon. And I mean, I remember one time he told us he was doing 185, and this guy is fucking strong. And he just, for whatever reason, like tweaked his pec, like bad, like a little bit of bruising too. And this weight was well within his wheelhouse. So it's like, you know, you never know. But all that's to say is, at least don't put yourself in a situation of increased risk. Obviously, if my goal is bodybuilding, or just, you know, general muscle growth, not pure strength, you know, I'm a little spoiled, so I can say this much easier. But, you know, the 1 rep PR, dude, I mean, it's dangerous, right? That is a lot of weight. That is a lot of intra-bodily forces, which, you know, if you've got a weak point, that weak point will make itself very well known if it's weak enough, right? So, you know, for me, obviously, I don't even want to do 1 rep maxes, but I kind of hope that the 10 rep or like the 8 rep max starts to get a bit more love, right? I mean, what's cooler? Well, okay, that's actually a bad argument. Obviously, 1 rep maxes are cool. You know, you're moving around a lot of weight. But, you know, I'm more impressed by the guy, or by like the beginner high school character doing 225 on squats, full depth, to actual failure. And, you know, he's got the safeties on, and, you know, he's not joking and just racks it at the bottom because he couldn't do it. Like, he really killed it. A real failure like that, even with 2 plates, way more impressive than watching some guy do, you know, 4 plates, because that's well within his ability. You know, that's something that you gotta, it's kind of an equalizer of, you know, looking at how things are just in any space, but in lifting specifically, it's like, you know, usually a lot of kind of body dysmorphic thoughts. Oh man, I'm not as big as these guys, they're way leaner, they're way stronger, they're taking their pictures and their pictures look awesome. But it's always like highlighting the positives and the difference between somebody and them without highlighting the actual picture. Whoa, this guy who's been working out for 15 years and it's his job and he's a competitive bodybuilder, or, you know, whatever, looks crazy in his Instagram picture that he posted in really good lighting with a pump while he was in a dieting phase, so he looked extra cool. You know, don't forget that, man, right? I mean, there's definitely freaks out there that's and you know, if you get upset about the fact that there's like straight up genetic freaks, or they just blow up instantly, it looks like they're not even trying, I mean, that's something to be upset about, at least a little. You know, it's kind of warranted. That's just the unfairness of the world. But at least for everybody who isn't in that 1% vector, you know, they've just been doing it for longer, right? So they've done what it takes to get wherever they are. And if you look at your position without context and you make that comparison, I mean, what are we doing here, right? That's like comparing a damn, 5th grade t-ball player. Actually, what do you... 5th grade, you're not playing t-ball. You'd be playing actual baseball with, somebody from the damn Mets. They've simply done it for longer, So that's always been my logic. And whether or not it was made, based purely on delusion earlier on, because obviously, I was a 160 pounder when I started working out. And in my mind, I don't think I've ever actually looked at like any bodybuilder guy who I've looked up to or any kind of fitness model dude and like really got extra jealous. Because in my head, I'm always like, well, they've just been doing it for longer, right? I'm a beginner. You got to give me some time to freaking catch up. So whether that was just a chip on my shoulder kind of thing or, whatever, like, I had no proof that I would be able to, reach the level I'm at now. But, having a certain sense of just, let me think of the word here, kind of unwaverable, kind of even a little bit of hope, honestly. But I wouldn't even call it hope per se, because hope is kind of more of a wish, right? It's more of a damn belief, because, if you were just starting working out, or if you imagine somebody just start working out and he lifted every day, he made consistent gains, he gradually learned more about his training, he gradually got more like locked in with his diet, and he was counting his calories and everything else, then that's the cool part of working out. I say this all the fucking time, all the freaking time, sorry about that, but it's not a question of if, like with some things it's a question of if, or it's simply like not attainable, right? Am I ever going to be an NBA player? Even if I dropped everything and made that my like lifelong goal, not gonna happen. I don't know, maybe I'm limiting myself there, who knows? But for all intents and purposes, that's not gonna happen. And I don't think I'm just limiting my belief system by saying that, right? But with the working out, what's the barrier? You don't have an hour and a half a day. You don't even have to go every day. I've been doing a bit more rest days, probably just because I'm getting used to heavier lifts because I've been dieting for the last 5 months. The workouts have been a bit less intense, because I've just been working out for, muscle maintenance and fat loss. So, it does take a little bit to get into a groove again. But yeah, you don't have to be a damn 4 a.m., 3-mile run, come home ice bath kind of guy. If you take two dudes, one guy works out every day in a conventional sense, let's say push-pull legs plus a rest day on Sunday, versus the dude who didn't do jack. That guy could do nothing else. He could not worry about his diet. He could not do any extra cardio. All he's doing is coming in and working out. He is leaps and bounds ahead of a guy who doesn't train at all. And that's only adding one aspect of working out. Now it's the biggest aspect, the working out part, but not even having to focus on macros or calories or anything. Just by going to the gym and pushing yourself, even just reasonable discomfort, not even total failure every set, but just reasonable exposure to weights, that is a massive change to your body. So take that extra far, increase that intensity, improve your recovery. Make sure, I've got freaking, well, maybe this isn't something to brag about, it's just a mess, but I've got like gallon jugs just sitting around all over the place because I'm just like constantly slamming water, eating a bunch of damn food and like minute rice, just bowls of ground beef. And you tell me if you've ever done this before, probably more so for the actual like serious bodybuilder type. But if you've never mixed like ground beef into your oatmeal, I promise it just disappears. You don't even taste the beefy part of it. But it's like there's so many extra things you can add on beyond just the bare minimum, and the bare minimum is still insanely more effective than nothing, So it's not like infinite returns, but every aspect of working out that you improve plays into your overall progress very well. And the longer you do it, the less it feels like a challenge, the guy who's never worked out before, and he comes in for his first week and he says, I'm working out 6 days a week. That's my challenge for myself. That's my goal. I'm gonna do this. for him, the effort of even showing up is so much greater than the guy who's been working out for 10 years because he's so used to it, right? I mean, he's been doing this forever. It's not even a question. So, that's a little bit of a good kind of point to have a chip on your shoulder mentality. It's like, these guys have been working out forever. This is a new grind for me. Come on, right? And don't forget, that dude, that Mr. Olympia character, that Mr. whoever, he didn't work out at a time. He was still a beginner just like everybody else, right? Watching, I guess it's a little different if somebody started working out pre-Arnold, which there's definitely a percentage, right? I mean, I look at I can see my age stats on all these views and everything, and it's a little skewed because obviously, if you're a kid and you make a Gmail account, you don't want to be age restricted, so you can't watch like inappropriate videos on YouTube. So everybody says they're 18 or older, right? So based on those stats, my sub 18 viewership rate is 5%. That's so BS. But my over 60, I think it's like 5. Right? There's some characters in here with some damn knowledge and wisdom. So actually, that's a good little call out to you guys. If you've got any wise tales or good pieces of intel for us youngins, I would love to hear it. That's definitely playing into the not to make use of a bad situation, but kind of a learning from someone else's mistakes sort of thing. But I walked out of the gym feeling like a cowboy because my adductors were so pumped up, combined with hamstrings, that I was kind of waddling back and forth instead of taking regular model runway steps. So I am definitely going to feel those tomorrow. I was just telling some guys in there too, I think I need to rework my workout split and not do chest after legs, because if I hit my legs hard enough, I don't want to do dumbbell incline bench because my adductor, my hamstrings and my quads are so sore. Like I don't want to work them by picking all that stuff off the ground, So maybe that's just me being a little whiny, but we'll see. So that's all I got there. Yeah, sorry for making this a late upload. I'll get back to my regular 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. I'm getting behind on some of these. Got to get back into my regular groove, which working out extra early will do me freaking good. So early cardio tomorrow, and then I've got some deep tissue work, primarily lats, a little bit of chest. I've been doing that about every 2 weeks. I think especially in the off season when I get extra tight and bound up, I think I might need to start doing that weekly. So I think that'll be part of my Wednesday morning routine. I don't know, I might need to flip it around. Well, we'll see, but I'll update you on that tomorrow. So ideally you did your cardio, ideally you had a badass lift, and then third level of ideally, you got a big ass bowl of food in front of you, or a small ass bowl of food in front of you because you're dieting down and you're not cheating yourself. Even harder, but I guess all I can say is get ready to get excited about tomorrow's workout if you have one, or if you've got a rest day, chill out and then get ready to come back for the day afterward. But that's all I got, so I'll see you tomorrow.